friends, how are you today? I am doing awesome. Today was a good day. I woke up, felt good, and I hope you did also. I want to talk about a couple of favorite horror movies of mine. These are my absolute top. I put these in my top 10. These are in my top 10. One of these days I'm going to do a top 10, but I wanted to grab a couple just to talk about them today. And these are absolute classics. Now, I have a couple of formats in the first one I want to talk about. This movie is called Motel Hell. Okay, this was introduced to me when I was young. I mean, I must have been about maybe 6 or 5 or something like that when I first saw Motel Hell. Number one, the title, Motel Hell. You look at that, you're like, that's a messed up title. The title is just messed up. But it suits it perfectly. It's about to explain a little bit about it, it's about a motel that is owned by a guy that also makes almost like a beef jerky. And kind of like a Texas Chainsaw Massacre, I bet you can guess how he makes the beef jerky. You know, how he makes the special meats that he smokes and makes. You know, of course they come from human bodies. Yes, he's setting up booby traps and trapping people, and he's burying them up to their necks in a garden, and he's watering them and feeding them kind of like a bunch of cabbage, and he cuts the vocal cords out of their throat so they can't make any noise, so that the cops can't see him. He's got him in this little hidden little garden, you know, where people drive by, they can't see it, and it's like the cops all know him. You know, the town all knows him. He's famous. He's got billboards. He's famous for his smoked meats. And they're made out of human flesh. And it's funny because my daughter used to go crazy because I have one daughter that I watched this with. I don't think I've watched this with any other people besides her. She's like my little companion, my little sidekick who sits through pretty much every movie that I drop on her, you know what I mean? And I dropped this on her at a decent age. I discovered this, I think, when I was like 5 years old or whatever, on like Cinemax or whatever. And as always, I wasn't being monitored by my parents. I was probably just sitting in front of the TV, you know, by myself and scanning through the channels. And I was like, okay, well, I'm going to watch this. And they didn't really care. But when they cut the vocal cords, the people like, they make it sound like it's like a gurgling. I'm gonna see if I can put a little clip of it so you understand exactly what I'm talking about. But I would do it to my daughter afterwards, and she'd be like, "Don't do that!" She'd freak out. "Don't do that! That drives me crazy! Don't do that!" And what a great movie. So anyway, he sets up these traps to catch the people, so he can put them in the garden, keeps them alive. He feeds them through a funnel. He makes them look at psychedelic lights to make their head. This is like a 70s movie, so it's like, you know, get the psychedelic things going on. It also stars the guy Cliff Clavin from Cheers. He's one of the guys that gets caught and he ends up being buried. The mailman from Cheers. But it's a funny horror movie, okay? This isn't just a horror movie. I understand the topic is kind of way out there, but this is like a Texas Chainsaw Massacre type topic. But the storyline is great. The characters are funny. There's a woman in this. The woman, I don't know what her name is. Is it going to say her name in here? Because I don't know if they have an interview with her. No, I do this all the time. And I look at this thing, and I know you guys are looking at me, and you're like, okay, come with the name of the thing. I'm going to put a picture of her over here somewhere. She was from Porky's. She played the coach there, the gym teacher, I think it was. She's wicked good in this, wicked funny. She's like one of those character actors that you can't, your eyes are glued to her. She's just funny. So anyway, the guy traps this booby traps this thing, ends up catching this woman and man or whatever, boyfriend and girlfriend, and he keeps the girlfriend, you know, and they bring her back to health and everything like that. And it's all good, you know. And she ends up, she finds out that her boyfriend, he passed away in the accident, the car accident. Oh, actually, it's a motorcycle accident. Passed away in the motorcycle accident, which he didn't really. He's actually buried in the backyard, you know. I'm not giving away any secrets here. But, so she starts to fall for the Farmer Vincent character, which is like, he's like an old man compared to her. She's really young, and she also refers to him as my old man. You're gonna be my old man, like they used to do back in the 70s or whatever. And you know, then come to find out I mean, like I said, it's not spoiling anything because the whole movie is about this. Come to find out, she finds out that he is, you know, actually, you know, trapping people and turning them into smoked meats. But the characters in this are great. The movie in this is great. This is actually my Blu-ray copy. First time I owned it, I bought it in this. This is the DVD copy. And also came with the movie Deranged, which was kind of like a, I think Deranged was like the story of Ed Gaines. If you know what the history of Ed Gaines was. He was another one that used to catch people and cut them up and stuff. But I bought it for the Motel Hell because that was the only way that I could get it at the time. Was on this DVD. And since then, they released the Blu-ray on Scream Factory. And then Scream Factory released this awesome steelbook, which I'm not a steelbook guy. I don't like steelbooks. Don't really care for steelbooks, but this one I had to have because it's like one of my favorite horror movies. And I like the cover with the pig on it and everything. That's cool. That's just, he wore this, he'd wear like this pig head on his head. You got to watch the movie, but Motel Hell, what a great movie. But I had to get the steelbook only because it said it had extra special features, but I kind of compared to them, and it does. It has a few more special features than the first release, but they're both from Scream Factory. I didn't pay too much extra for this one. This one I think I got on sale at Best Buy. I think I only paid like $17 for $16.99 or whatever, and this one I paid a little bit more, and it came out a while, and I did not get the slipcover. I'm kind of kicking myself for that because I could not find it with the slipcover. But it's one of my favorites, and it's entertaining. I mean, if you try not to take things so seriously, you know, try not to let things get to you so much, because this, you know, if you watch this and you take all the stuff literally and you're like, hey, listen, I was like 5, 6 years old when I saw this movie. It didn't really affect me that much. I mean, I found it to be extremely entertaining. It's not a kid's movie. Don't show it to your 5-year-olds. Don't show it to your 10-year-olds. You know, wait till they have a little bit of common sense and they got a lot of stuff going on where they've lived a little bit, because it could confuse them and mess them up. So I'm giving this a definite please. It's rated R. You want to wait till they're 17, 18, you go right ahead. If you're old enough, you got to see this. It's good. As a parent, you make that judgment call if your child is mature enough to be able to handle this. I think I watched this with my daughter. I want to say that she was probably about 12 when she saw this, and she enjoyed it. There's like one scene in it that I actually fast forwarded past. Even though she was 12 years old, there is a scene in it that made me feel uncomfortable. And like I always tell people with these videos, if you've watched these movies before and there's a scene that makes you feel a little bit uncomfortable when you're watching it, then if you're gonna watch with your kids, fast forward past that scene. Just like this, I tell my kids when I watch something like this, a movie like a Chucky movie or a horror movie or whatever, something that has like a scene in it that I know I'm gonna feel in my heart and stomach, that feeling of uncomfortable feeling. I tell them, look away, look over there, and then when I'm done fast forward, I'm like, okay, I've already seen it. I don't have to see it again. I don't have to relive it again. They don't have to see it at that age. That's fine. You know, when they get older and if they want to go back and revisit the movie and watch that scene, then that's out of my hands. That's their choice. They're adults at that time. But when they're, you know, under my guidance, you know, I decide whether or not what they're going to see and what they're not going to see. And this movie was so enjoyable and so funny, and the characters are so charismatic. It was just, this was something I could not share with her. And I'm kind of happy that I was left alone to watch this movie when I was like 5 or 6, because it's stuck in my head for so many years. I never knew what the title was. Never had a clue what the title was, but I remembered the guy with the pig head. I remember the guy with the, you know, and then one day, you know, I'm scrolling through DVDs or whatever, and I see the same image with the guy with the pig head, and I'm like, that's the movie. That's that movie that I saw when I was like 5 or 6. It's stuck in my head. And I gotta get I gotta watch it again. And I put it back in, and it was like a new love. I had a brand new love for it. But it has images that just like, they stick in your head. I mean, they see people buried up their necks like rows of cabbage, you know, and this guy's feeding you through a funnel, and they're watching psychedelic lights, you know, so that their heads are going, and they're like, and it's like, and they're feeding them through the hose, and even when they pull them out of the ground, they tie a rope with a tractor and they pull them out. It's if you're a horror fan and you haven't seen this movie, you have to see it. And if you've seen it and you couldn't remember what it was, it's Motel Hell. It's a classic horror movie, okay? It's good. It's such a good movie. And that's all I got to say about that. You know what I mean?
Now, let's see what we got here. Funny-looking critters, ain't they, Vincent?
Yeah, maybe so. But you know as well as I do, it takes all kinds of critters to make Farmer Vincent fritters.
So, with that said, I got one more movie I want to talk about. One more. And it's another one of my absolutely favorite movies. This movie I put in at least once a month. Without hesitation, once a month. Sometimes twice a month. Sometimes 3 times a month. This is my go-to movie if I want to watch this is my happy horror movie, okay? That makes sense to you. There's some movies that you put in and they give you an overwhelming feeling of happiness and joy. It's a horror movie, so you would think that it would scare you. This movie doesn't scare me at all. I have no fear while I'm watching this movie, and I absolutely love it. And the movie is, the movie is Silver Bullet. This is the first release that I was able to get, and this is the second release that I was able to get. This one was released, I think this was almost like an import. It's an import. And it says that it's wow, you know what? It says that it's a Region B, but it plays perfectly fine on my Blu-ray player. My Blu-ray player is a US Blu-ray player. It's supposed to play Region A and Region 1, but it played fine. And I mean, I ordered it. It stars Haim, which was one of my favorite actors of all times. And then Scream Factory released this special edition with all these bonus features. Now, this one comes with a bunch of bonus features, too. I mean, it has audio commentaries on this one. Audio commentaries, interviews. It has documentaries, Full Moon Fever. I mean, it's got a lot of stuff. But Scream Factory gives you that much more. I mean, you get the interviews. You get multiple interviews and newer interviews. You know, this one has older interviews. These are newer interviews, and this is just a great movie. It's Silver Bullet. So like, you think of Silver Bullet, you think of werewolves. It's exactly what it is. It's a werewolf horror movie. It's about this kid that he's handicapped. He has no feeling in his legs. He's in a wheelchair, and the silver bullet is not actually the bullet. It's not the bullet that kills the werewolf. It's actually the name of his wheelchair. He has a regular wheelchair first. Which one should I be holding up while I do this thing? I'll hold up this one. Anyway, I'll hold them both. Anyway, then I can't put the thing on the side. It'll be over on this side. I'll hold this one up. So he's got a wheelchair. The wheelchair is called the Silver Bullet. And it's a regular wheelchair, except it has a motor on it, you know, and he's got like handlebars on it, and it's cool, you know, it's basic, but it goes like almost like a moped, and he's all of a sudden this vampire, wow, I got Lost Boys on the brain when I think of Corey Haim. This werewolf is terrorizing the town, but they don't know it's a werewolf. They don't know what it is because bodies are coming up and people are getting killed. And he's driving, you know, this thing, you know, he's in a wheelchair and everything. And he's got an uncle. Now, the uncle in this movie is played by Gary Busey. I absolutely love Gary Busey. I think Gary Busey is the most interesting person I've probably ever seen in my life. I am glued to everything Gary Busey. The guy is just, he's awesome. Gary Busey is awesome. Buddy Holly, I mean, there's a movie called Eye of the Tiger that probably a lot of people haven't seen. Gary Busey is awesome. Okay, that's all I gotta say about that. But he plays his uncle, and he plays his Uncle Red. His Uncle Red is an alcoholic who comes to visit every once in a while, and he spoils the kid rotten. Okay, he's like that fun drunk uncle that comes over. I used to have a drunk uncle that I used to see him every once in a while. He used to come down. He didn't live around here, whatever, and he would play games with us. And he reminds me of that drunk uncle. It's like you didn't see him for a long time, but then when you saw him, man, was it interesting. I mean, he used to play this uncle I had. He used to play this game with us. It was a dollar game. He put $1 under his foot, and then me and my cousins were all like line up and try to grab this dollar before he stomped on our hands. To us, that was the greatest thing in the world. He's laughing his head off. He's drunk, and he's laughing his head off because he's stepping on our... I mean, we're like 5, 6, 7 years old or whatever. And he's stepping on our hands, and we're crying because our knuckles are all banged up and bruising. But we're trying to get that dollar, and he's like, "Get the dollar before I step on you." To me, that was like the funniest thing. It was more fun. It was fun that we would line up. I mean, that's how stupid kids are nowadays. You know, back in the day when we're lining up to get that dollar for somebody's stop, and he was fast. So he's drunk, but he's fast, and he's stomping on our hands. And as one cousin would put the hand in and get stomped on, we're laughing our heads off. And then when it came up to your turn, you're wicked excited. But then when you go to do it, he steps on your hand, and now you're crying. But that's what the Gary Busey character brings back memories to me. Is that one drunk uncle that would step on your hand and like. But he loved you. You know what I mean? He was a good, loving guy, but that was one of his flaws. He was an alcoholic but he was fun. He was fun and funny and really not, he wasn't there to hurt anybody. It was just that was his hang up. You know what I mean? So the Gary Busey character plays this Uncle Red that comes down, and he builds him a better, faster, wheelchair, and it's also called the Silver Bullet. He puts on the side the Silver Bullet. Well, now, because of the werewolf and everything, kind of like COVID, they cancel everything. The 4th of July is coming, and 4th of July is now canceled. So no fireworks. They're supposed to have the carnivals and everything, and they're shutting everything down, so they're not going to have anything. And the kid's kind of bummed out. So his uncle comes down, he gives him a whole bag full of fireworks, and he's like, "Okay, well, you're going to have 4th of July, you're going to have it in your own backyard." You know what I mean? So he just tells me, he goes, "Go away from the house a little bit so your parents don't see the fireworks and everything, and light out the fireworks." Well, the kid goes away from the house, and he's shooting out the fireworks, and there's all kinds of cool ones, you know what I mean? And he's getting super excited and everything, and all of a sudden, here comes the werewolf, And the werewolf is not even scary. He looks more like a bear than a werewolf, but it's just great movie. You know what I mean? It's scary enough that it's a werewolf, but he looks like a bear. Like, you probably want to give this werewolf a hug. That's what it kind of looks like to me anyway. That's the way I felt. So anyway, the werewolf comes at him or whatever, and he's shooting these bottle rockets. He shoots the bottle rocket at the werewolf, and it hits the werewolf in the eye. And now him and his sister, which I didn't even mention her in the beginning, he's got this relationship with his sister. His sister is awesome in this too. She was from Anna of Green Gables. She was an awesome actress. I thought she was amazing with the Corey Haim character. They made such good brother and sister chemistry. It was awesome. And so now he goes to his sister because nobody believes him. She goes to Uncle Red because Uncle Red's the only guy that might believe them. And they decide that they are going to try to kill this werewolf one night. And one of my most favorite scenes of almost all the movies I've ever seen in my life is when they want to make a silver bullet. The only way to kill a werewolf is with a silver bullet. Okay, that's like the big thing. Okay, everybody knows that. The only way to kill a werewolf is with a silver bullet. So they need to make the silver bullet. So he goes to this gunsmith that makes bullets. And the Corey Haim character and the sister, they give them their charms and medallions and necklaces that they have that are made out of silver so they can make this bullet. So they can kill one bullet to kill this werewolf. And the uncle agrees to stay with them with his gun. I think it's a .357 Magnum he has. He's going to stay up all night and hold this gun to kill the werewolf. I'm saying the werewolf because that's what the guy said. How about a werewolf?
How about a werewolf?
Because the uncle's like, "I'm making a silver bullet because my nephew just discovered the Lone Ranger, because he doesn't want to tell the guy we're here to hunt werewolves." I'm not gonna end the, I'm not gonna explain the whole movie. I'm not even gonna tell you. You end up finding out who the werewolf is, in the mid movie, right? So I'm not gonna ruin that for anybody that has not seen the movie yet. But what an amazing! At least once, twice. I'm gonna watch it tonight. I'm gonna watch it tonight. I watched it last week, twice. I put this in at least once, twice a month. It is entertaining. It is fun. It stands up the test of time. Some movies don't stand up. This movie stands up. It is just great. If it ever gets a 4K, I normally only buy 4Ks if they're movies that I absolutely love. I mean, I have to have a passion for the movie. You know, I've had to watch the movie. It has to be something that I've lived on and breathe and remember. I mean, I could quote this movie from beginning to end. Quote it. No word of a lie. Quote it. You know, that's how many times I've seen it. That's how much I love this movie. Absolutely my absolute you know what? This is my #1 favorite horror movie of all times. I can't even think of anything else in this comparison. I can't think of anything else that I watch more than, you know, once a month, you know, just because I love it so much. You know, another one that's probably close to it is a movie called Something Wicked This Way Comes, and I'll save that for another day. But it's another one that flew under the radar type films, or that, you know, people probably don't know too much about. But if you want to see a classic horror movie that I mean, you got adult kids, you got older kids, you know, your wife, you want to watch a horror movie, you want to introduce horror movies to your family, this is the movie to go with. Silver Bullet. What a great movie. And Corey Haim, he's young in this one, but he makes the movie. Gary Busey, he's funny, he's entertaining, he's charismatic, he's your eyes are glued to the set. The way he acts, the way he talks. I love actors that when you're watching them, you don't know that they're acting. That's when you know that when you can put yourself in their place and you can feel what they're feeling, and you have this kind of relationship with them as you're watching the movie. That's a good actor. You know, you could tell a good actor if you're watching an actor and you can tell that they're acting, then they're overacting. Then you know it's not real. I love it when I'm watching a movie and I don't feel like it's a movie. I feel like I'm watching my life in reality, and I'm that kid in the wheelchair, and I remember my uncle, you know, doing these things, and I can relate with that. That's where I'm at with this movie. It is Silver Bullet, unbelievable, one of the best. If you haven't seen it, you have to. You just have to see it. It's a Stephen King. We all know about Stephen King. You know how awesome Stephen King is. This is one of the Stephen King films. Well, it's not a Stephen King film because he doesn't do the films. He does he writes the books. But what an amazing movie. That's all I gotta say. It's to show you the inside of the Scream Factory. I don't know because Scream Factory always does a great job with. Okay, so we have in here that, but I'm guessing that if I open this up inside, they're gonna guess they are. They're gonna have in the back the alternate cover is in there, which that's what the VHS tape was when I had it, and that's what I think the original DVD was too when I first. I do have the DVD somewhere in the house. I didn't want to part with any of them because it's what the VHS I know I have. It's in a box, and the DVD I know I have somewhere around here. But this is a great movie. Absolute great horror movie. If you want to start off on watching horror movies, you don't want to be overly scared or confused or you know, freak out the kids or whatever, this is the one to start with. Great movie. And that's about it. That's what I have for today. I'm glad I could share that with you. I'm doing these videos a lot, so please hit the bell so you can be notified when I post, because I've been trying to post every day. Sometimes I miss days, things happen, but I've been trying to post every day. So hit the bell so you can get notified when they do drop. And hit the subscribe button. Hit a like if you liked it. Comment. Tell me if I'm right. Tell me if I'm wrong. I am not easily offended. Let me just say that. I'm not easily offended. I've had people write stuff in the comments on some of my videos, and I'm like, okay, well, you know, if you weren't that happy with it, you could always change it. But hey, you got your right to your opinion, you know. And I love people. Sometimes I need to be auto-corrected, you know, kind of like I'm saying something to my phone, and my phone automatically says, no, that's not what you're supposed to say. You're supposed to say this. You know, I like to be auto-corrected, and I can evaluate what I said, and then that kind of helps me to be a better person. Some people get really offended when you criticize them. Oh, you know, I didn't like, I hated that movie, and you got to be out of your mind because you like that movie. Well, you know, that's my feelings, you know, and you have your feelings, and nothing wrong with us addressing our feelings to each other, and I appreciate that. So, comment, subscribe, and I will see you later.